We're coming to you from Stillwater, where Oklahoma State has defeated Lamar 59-3. And Gina, I don't think the result was ever in doubt, the final score maybe, but just talk about your impressions of this game. I mean, obviously a ton going on this week with the Sports Illustrated investigation. This was the home opener. A lot of just energy about this game. What did you take away from this game, what you saw?
Yeah, I think what you said, energy, is a great word to talk about. I mean, Mike Gundy mentioned it, players mentioned it, just how today kind of felt a little bit different. And they tried to put it on that it was the home opener. And yes, that is a good point, because the last time they played at home was in mid-November against Texas Tech. It's been that long. But obviously, with the Sports Illustrated investigation going, there was a lot of fan support here, the largest crowd in Boone Pickens Stadium history, and certainly the players fed off of that during the walk up to the stadium, during the game, and obviously put on the type of performance that you would expect to against a lower opponent like Lamar.
31-3 at halftime ends up, an 8-touchdown victory for Oklahoma State. Let's talk offense first. J.W. Walsh splits time with Clint Shelf. He comes in the second half. J.W. Walsh has set a pretty high standard for himself. It didn't feel like he had quite a day to the standard he set in the first 2 games of this season.
No, he didn't play the way he did against Texas San Antonio, where he had more touchdown passes than incompletions. He was a little bit off. He had some nice grabs from his receivers that kind of bailed him out on a couple of plays, but still put together a good performance. Again, the offense kind of went up and down the field. There was a good mix of run and pass. And, yeah, J.W. Walsh characterized himself as average and was kind of disappointed. But, like you said, after last week, pretty much anything would be a letdown. So a good performance for Walsh, not a great one. But still, again, he's a starting quarterback. No one has to worry about a controversy going forward into this bye week, which is a nice thing for, I think, all of us.
And Jeremy Smith gets 3 touchdowns, first Cowboy with 3 touchdowns in a game this season, so a nice night for him as well. Let's talk defense for a second. Lamar didn't throw much of a challenge at this defense, but what did you like about what you saw out of the Cowboy defense tonight?
Yeah, again, they were going up kind of against a different style of offense. This was more of a spread attack, which is what they're going to see in the Big 12. Certainly not the caliber of athletes that they are going to face in conference play, but again, other than an interception by J.W. Walsh late in the first half that kind of set up Lamar with good field position, and then they kicked a field goal, this defense probably would have pitched a shutout. So anytime you're able to do that, I don't care if it's Lamar or Savannah State or if it's OU or Texas, anytime the defense can keep the offense basically completely out of the end zone, off of the field goal board, it's a solid performance. So I think under Glenn Spencer, we've seen a good look, and again, once we get into conference play based on those high-powered offenses, then we'll really start to know about this unit.
Lastly, you mentioned the off week coming, a bye week for the Cowboys, and then it's all conference play from here on out. Size up this conference race, Gina. This was the team picked to win the Big 12 in the preseason. It looks like that's still a pretty darn good pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Just when you look at what this team has done, they've obviously beat up on 2 lower opponents in Lamar and UTSA, but got a good win against Mississippi State. And when you look up and down the rest of the league, some of these other contenders have already stumbled. You see Texas lost to BYU, fired its defensive coordinator Manny Diaz, and then came back and lost to Ole Miss tonight. We saw Kansas State lose to North Dakota State in the first game of the season. We've seen TCU now lose to Texas Tech. So some of these schools that we thought would be in the mix for the conference championship, they've already lost a game. So granted, has Oklahoma State played the toughest non-conference schedule in the world? No way, but they've played a decent one, at least when you look at that Mississippi State game, and they're 3-0, which is a lot better than some teams can say right now.
All right, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.